next month or so. And these sensors are really interesting. They do, they see the world in 3D. They build a point cloud of the world that it's seeing as I move around. And they lay a polygon mat on top of everything. Mat, they can lay virtual items. And you already, this is the Lenovo phone that's coming out. You can play virtual games on top of real things. It's really pretty mind-blowing technology. But I don't think it's really the mobile phone is where it's going, although Apple has 600 engineers working on the PrimeSense sensor, which is its version of this 3D sensor. 600 engineers in Israel working alone on just the 3D sensor. So that gives you an idea of some of the investments that companies are making in bringing this future to you and bringing it to you pretty quickly. I'm hearing rumors that your iPads and your TVs will have this sensor in it as well. So we need to bring a new user interface to you and a new way of working. I need to explain the fundamentals underneath, right? If I was bringing Windows 95 out to you, I would talk about DLLs and API calls and mouse move messages and how the system was working underneath. Well, these sensors are so sensitive they can see condensation forming on a glass in front of you. They can see the fabric in your shirt. So think about the artificial intelligence we're going to do. We're going to be wearing glasses soon that can see what kind of clothing you're wearing. They can see your heart beating from 4 or 5 feet away because they can see your skin moving that small of a distance. But what we're really going to do is use it for stuff like this, where we're going to walk around the world, walk around a shopping mall, an airport, a sporting arena, and it's going to map the world out, and it's going to do virtual things on top of that primitive, right? And you're seeing a little bit about how it works here, how it sees things, how it looks for points, how it builds a system that it can navigate. At Qualcomm, they showed me a drone that's using this technology that will, as it flies around, maps out the room it's in and puts these little boxes, volumetric pixels around, and it then can navigate around those boxes so it can avoid a tree, for instance, or whatnot. This is the system that self-driving cars use. This is the system that robots use. This is the system that mixed reality glasses are going to use. And this is the system that our phones are going to bring us inside out, 6 degrees of freedom to virtual reality. By the way, if you buy the virtual reality, I say you should never buy one that doesn't have 6 degrees of freedom, which means the Samsung Gear VR is going to be obsolete within a few hours. If it's not already. Qualcomm showed me a VR system that uses just a standard camera. They don't even need the 3D sensor to do a lot of this stuff. And it takes 800 frames a second, and it can build a map of what it's seeing and then move you around in that map so you can navigate, walk around. You know, for people who don't have a VR machine at home, I can play tennis, I can shoot skeets, I can play basketball with you if you had an HTC Vive, all by moving around a space. It's really a lot of fun. But here you get a sense of what's coming for your industry. A blue line on the floor, right? If I need something in the world, if I walk into a shopping mall, I'm going to ask Siri, hey Siri, how do I find the blue jeans in this mall? And it's going to show me 3 pictures of different blue jeans in different stores. And I'm going to click on one in the air, and a blue line is going to appear on the floor. Right? Take me there. I believe that most of the world is going to get VR through mobile phones. Next year, iPhone 8 is going to be the 10th anniversary of the iPhone. It's going to have this 3D sensor. It's going to have a 4K OLED screen that goes edge to edge with no buttons. And that's going to let us do it for free. I believe that by the end of next year, everyone who has an iPhone is going to have VR headset, and it's going to be able to play 6 degrees of freedom VR at a pretty good frame rate as well. This is a camera company in my office called Zeb. They're taking these 2 lenses, doing a diff in the computer between these 2 lenses, and building a point cloud. So you can do all sorts of fun things on top of a mobile VR. It just looks dorky today, it's heavy, and it's expensive. This is going to be built into the phones by the end of next year, and it's already starting to be built into Android phones this year. So 6 degrees of freedom is going to let you walk around a space, play things, shoot things, throw things, punch things, all while walking around. That's really going to be important. And when you do get it, how many people here have an HTC Vive already? So I know. Amazing, very few, couple hands. This shows how early we are in this industry, and it's about to explode. These are the polygons, so when you are actually using one of these systems underneath, it's drawing all these polygons on things, and the more GPU you have, the better this system is going to get. So let's talk about what is coming soon. Stuff like this, where virtual items are going to be locked to physical things. And if you think this isn't coming, anybody who's had a chance to get inside Microsoft HoloLens knows this is coming and coming today. You can buy it for $3,000. It's just big and dorky. But in 3 years, it's going to be small and not so dorky. I visited a startup in Seattle called Look. On their wall, they had a virtual window. It looked like a window. I could walk around it. It was on the wall. And I clicked on it, and zombies came crawling through the window into my space and toward me. If you think it's not coming, it is. There's $500 million of investment in startups alone coming to this world. And Microsoft's executive team called me last week and told me that their corporate strategy has just changed to be cloud and HoloLens. Microsoft is betting its entire company on HoloLens. If you haven't gotten that memo, you just did. And Apple is betting its company on its future of mixed reality. And Facebook has a huge team working on this stuff as well. This guy runs Magically got $1.3 billion of investment without having a customer and without having a product. What does Magically do? It's new optics that take light out of the air and put virtual light into your eye. So you can mix virtual things like these Star Wars drones, C-3PO and R2-D2, and notice that they're properly occluded by the table that'll show up right there. You notice it's right behind the table. It's so good at figuring out where all the surfaces are that it can mix the virtual into the reality. And now you can play a new kind of game on tables. You can have things walking around these aisles in the future, and you can change your brand deeply. I believe every brand in a few years is going to have a physical component and then a virtual component that matches off of it. We'll talk a lot more about that. This mixed reality world, some are calling it augmented virtual reality. Lets us do some fantastic things. This guy built a fun little door. Let's listen to him.
There we go. So now you can see there's actually a world in there that it's showing me. Hey guys, it's Paul. I'm here with the Holo Herald again today for what we're going to kind of consider an app preview. So this app's not big enough to really do a review. It's just kind of cool idea that someone did with the technology, kind of to give you guys an idea of what you can do with the technology. So I'm just going to bloom. Then I'm going to open up. It's called
Bloom is a gesture you do in front of the
That's a really cool app. So I'm just
bring out a
place it. Okay. Then so it was made in Unity. It's like
everything's made in Unity
now. Okay, so you can kind of hear it. It's pretty loud music. So I'm going to say Play Store. So
those are the polygons underneath.
You can see how well that works. Play Store. So now it's on the ground. It's a little short door, but it's pretty cool. So now we're just going to say Open Door. Open the door. Come on. There we go. So now you can see there's actually a world in there that it's showing me. So I'm going to get in there. Yeah, it's just like a cool little world someone made in Unity, where if you walk through that door that I just walked through, right there, you can see it's kind of like just showing what you can do with augmented reality. This is really mixed reality. It's pretty cool. In my opinion, this will kill, once the graphics on this stuff gets better, this will kill VR. And it's just incredible because really good AR will definitely beat VR. So, I don't know, it's just a really cool little app that kind of shows the capabilities. So now, after we're done looking,
I'm going to go on because I have a little short on time, but you get an idea. There's a virtual door in the real world, and it opens up into a virtual world that you walk around, and this is going to be a lot of fun. These mixed reality glasses that are coming from Magic Leap and Apple and others are really 6 technologies. They're the optics that are being developed that put virtual things on top of the real world. There's a 5G or LTE 5. I just talked to Qualcomm's engineer who's building this, and he said it's coming in 2019. It's eye tracking, and that's going to be really important for a whole bunch of things. Mostly next year, it's going to be important for VR because they can do a new kind of compression called foveated rendering. And as you look around the screen, it can uncompress the polygons and the bitmaps or the videos just on that spot, so they can save the GPU that's underpowered in the phones. It's the room trackers, these sensors that build 3D maps of the room, so the devices that we're wearing or holding will know where they are in space. It's augmented audio, and we should have a whole session someday on what's going on in audio, but audio is about to get a real revolution. There's actually a reason that Apple got rid of the headphone jack, because they're moving toward this world where the audio is going to be augmented, because we can put processing in the headphones in your ears now. And it's artificial intelligence, it's categorization. These things are going to know this is a floor, this is a table, these are cups, these are humans. It's going to know that, so it can properly put these virtual things on the right things, right? And let's talk about eye sensors. The eye sensors are going to allow you to do a new kind of user interface, and you're going to see a little piece of that here, but it's also going to enable this new kind of foveated rendering as well. But this is Jim Margraf, who started one of the eye tracking companies that you're going to get in products. And just watch the screen as he looks around.
I can change pages. Here's another a close-up of some electronics in our office, and I can go home when I want to. Over here is a medical application, and
all with your eyes.
All with my eyes. So I'm doing this solely with my eyes as fast as I can look. I'm not waiting, I'm not winking, I'm just looking. And here I've got the patient, I've got some allergy record, protocols, insurance, confidential information, current conditions. Why is it here? Well, it tells me he's got a pain in his foot. Notice I'm looking at this, but there's nothing happening on the screen. But when I decide, for instance, that I want to check out his x-ray, there it is. And now I want to go back, because a couple of screens ago there was some confidential information, which is here. And now it's going to take a picture of my eye. It grabs it and says, oh, who is that? Confirms it is me. And in a moment you'll see that it'll give me access. I'm Jim, head of CEO and founder of iFluence. And there it is, I've got confidential information. When I want to, I can return home as fast as that.
That's amazing.
All with my eyes.
That's amazing. These are the ODG glasses, which you can buy right now. Caterpillar is using them to train people on how to fix their tractors. But he showed me another pair that's coming out, and he said, pull something out of your pocket. I pulled my iPhone out, laid it on the table. He said, look at it. I looked at it, a menu popped off the phone, and it let me look up the price and buy it all with my eyes without touching anything, right? As we walk around the world, we're going to be the computer's going to watch us. These are the sensors already, so you can see they're real products. They're coming soon, and they're getting smaller and smaller. So in this mixed reality world, let's talk about some of the fun things. In here, you're going to see a new kind of camera. It's a volumetric camera. It has 40 cameras around the actor, around George Takei. Let's watch what it looks like.
Actiongram is an app that allows you to bring holograms into the real world and create and share videos.
Being able to incorporate visual effects into live action right there on set is a lot of fun and gets your brain going.
It's great to work with holograms in the first place. That's already cool, but the fact that there are these iconic characters makes it even cooler. You want to consider it your performance. Action!
Welcome to Hollywood. Oh,
And I see somebody there in the north. That's me. This is fascinating.
We talked about holograms on Star Trek, and to actually be doing that in reality today, it was a lot of fun. Technology and being a part of it at the cutting edge is a thrill that very few people can see.
So it was really fun creating videos with the George Takei holograms because he's just hilarious.
Oh, no,
You get this like really high bar of talent that you normally wouldn't get to work with.
Love that.
It's not every day that you get a chance to work with George Takei.
Live action holograms that are three-dimensional and function within your actual three-dimensional space was mind-blowing.
I think it's a really exciting time for video creation and storytelling.
So let's talk about what's going to happen to our industry. Marketing is about to deeply change. Sephora, a big cosmetic retailer, has already built augmented reality makeup. You can get it on their app today on iPhone or Android. You aim the phone at your face, you put on some virtual makeup. The product that you see in the phone is color matched to the real product. And I think this is a new marketing primitive for us, that we're going to build things that take the physical product and augment them in some way and make them better in the virtual space. Ford is already not just building its cars in VR. If you go to their R&D lab in Silicon Valley, they have a nice room where they do VR testing with consumers and other stakeholders. But they're doing marketing activations with these headsets, and they're reporting sizable success. Absolute Vodka told me that its music promotion in VR, the average time spent in these was 19 minutes, and they said they'd never seen a promotion in their history where they had 19 minutes of their customers' time spent interacting with their brand at some level. You might have heard of these new Snapchat glasses or Snap spectacles coming. They are going to do a lot of computer vision stuff, and then you notice there's a place for a second camera. So I think in 2 years, Snapchat's going to be a big deal. This is the guy who built the camera. He put a 1080p camera and a Wi-Fi radio into the sunglass frame. Back when he showed it to me, it was a popsicle stick. In fact, I think I have a picture of that. And today, it's a sugar cube that's in the glass, and you can buy them for $139. So I'm going to be broadcasting a new kind of video show on Snapchat using these glasses as soon as they come out. You start talking about medical. VR is better for pain than morphine. The studies have been done. They did it with burn victims, and they found that VR is many times better than morphine. That's just one thing that we're going to do with VR and AR technologies to improve our brains. This lady, Cheryl Lee Calder, is a doctor down in South Africa that I visited, and she's working with professional athletes, and she can hack your brain. She worked with the #1 rugby player in the world who kept dropping balls that came at a high angle with this. He had a weakness in his eyes and his perception system. After 6 months of working with her system, which is a thing that looks like a really intense video game on the screen, he is now #1 in the league at that task. The South African cycling team told me that she took his worst rider in terms of falls per race, and today he's the best rider just after 6 months of using her thing on a computer screen. So that's just a little piece of how sports is about to change. Let's go and hear from the NFL about how VR is going to change viewing sports.
Favorite player, you look to your right, you see them, and you look ahead, and the coach is there firing up the team. The seat at the 50-yard line in the first or second row, that might go for around $1,000 a ticket. But what you could also do is sell that same seat for $10 a ticket to 100,000 people.
You can create an avatar of your friend, and they'll be in that experience with you. But it's their real voice, and it's the real movement. VR is done well. There's no technology. There's no gadgets. It's not about pixels or refresh rate. It's an experience. There's complete mental transportation. You forget that you're even wearing the helmet. You are just mentally transported somewhere else. I do believe fans will be able to put on the head-mounted display
and have a highlight reel and get to experience and play and feel what it's like to be someone else for a minute. We like to say the brain is not yet evolved to differentiate a compelling virtual reality experience from a physical one.
Soon this fantasy will be in households across the globe. Will it change the way people interact, the way people watch football? Will virtual reality change the world for the better?
So right now people are watching sports on a screen, but soon it turns that screen into the world all around them.
What you can see in the stadium potentially could be what you see in your living room through a hologram.
This is NFL.
So that's coming next Christmas to everybody who buys an iPhone 8. You're gonna be able to play football against somebody else. And the NFL is very excited by that. The camera technologies are still evolving, but a company called NextVR got $80 million to put cameras inside sporting arenas and music festivals. So when you get your iPhone 8, you're going to have a lot of content to watch. Let's talk about the sensors and the Internet of Things that's coming. Let's listen to NFL talk about that.
Technology is driving new types of data collection and consumption, creating new possibilities for all sports. In football, we call this next-gen stats.
We've always thought about football in a three-dimensional sense. In the future, there's a fourth dimension that we say. That dimension is information.
We're in the initial stages of what we like to say is revolutionizing the game. Player tracking is going to bring new insights that we've never seen or never even imagined.
Possibilities for the NFL's future are endless, and they begin with next-gen stats. This is NFL Next.
Those of you that have been here before know that we like to open our meetings with a little icebreaker.
HSAC is a club that pursues the quantitative analysis of sports strategy and management. As Harvard students, we're not going to be the ones providing the best qualitative analysis, but we can try to answer some quantitative questions.
We're in discussions with the New York Giants about real-time data.
Stats and sports actually go very well together. Taking a more statistical approach can lead to gains of 5, 10, 15%.
They have these computer chips in their physical pads. Through this, you can measure things like acceleration, deceleration, things like that.
In order to understand the meaning of next-gen stats, we need to understand how and what kind of data we are collecting. The NFL, along with Zebra, are at the forefront of this revolutionary technology.
Every player has 2 tags on one in each shoulder pad. 12 to 15 times a second, those tags on the player's shoulders are blinking. The sensors in the stadium are looking for those blinks, and as they see them, they calculate the position of the player by the number of receivers that see each of the tags. The stats that people are used to consuming for football, yards gained, yards passing, those are really scratching the surface of what a player does during the game. So next-gen stats is meant to measure all the other things. It's how far a player runs, how fast they run, how fast do they run compared to earlier in the game, earlier in their career, earlier in that season.
We're looking at a whole new future that largely centers around data. In the manner of printing the ball in the future, you'll be able to integrate microcircuitry to monitor the statistics and help an athlete understand his performance better by measuring spiral quality, measure things like throwing velocity and how well he throws the football, or even the timing sequence of him throwing the football. Data becomes a part of our lives, and being able to measure things that are going on with the technique of the athlete, feed that information back to him is a fourth dimension that we see as a huge area for innovation for us, for our company.
So what does all this data mean? Many tech companies are hoping it means new ways to exploit and enhance the game viewing experience.
The way we integrate next-gen stats into the broadcast is basically by following along the storylines of the game.
Giants in Washington getting set to start on Thursday Night Football.
We look to find big-time gain with running backs or wide receivers. We look to say separation between defensive backs and wide receivers.
Manning back to throw, steps up, deep ball. Odell Beckham Jr. on the post.
Now someone can say, it's 22 miles an hour fast. You bet it is. It's #1 in the league this week.
Jumps up, makes the catch. Touchdown Giants.
In addition to CBS, Microsoft has been using the NFL's next-gen stats data in an even more unique way.
What really got us excited about working with the NFL was
trying to figure out ways where Microsoft's technology could kind of take the NFL experience to the next level. With one button press, I am now going to get the next gen view. So you kind of get that moment of like, hey, this looks like a game of Madden. But then you realize when watching the video highlight that they're tied and they're directly synced. We're getting all this data real time. We actually kind of have a tachometer where we can see his speed during the play, and then we'll actually stamp where he hit the top speed. He's probably in one of our top playmakers this week. I absolutely think these next-gen stats they're going to change everything.
We're starting to see things in a new light, and the whole explosion of data and information that's being created.
Tracking data is certainly the future of any professional sport. There could always be technology added to the NFL, and the cool thing about that is sometimes you don't even know what's coming.
We're still exploring how to best utilize it, but I think we're giving fans a better perspective with these data points.
At all times, I can look over to the right and I can see that play with a 3D representation of the play on my coffee table. I mean, that takes the game to a whole other level.
Technology continues to provide new data and new ways to exploit it. We will soon see how this will affect coaching, players, and outcomes for professional sports. Next-gen stats and statistical analysis are here to stay.
My football stadium that I go to watch the 49ers has 2,000 beacons in it. They're not just tracking the players, they're tracking everybody in the stadium. One of my, when I gave the speech a year ago, a guy stood up and said, I'm turning that shit off. Because at the stadium, it knows when you've parked because you have to show your mobile phone. It knows when you're walking in the stadium. In fact, they have a huge 4K screen now that will put your Facebook name up there if you allow the app to do this. As